Hi guys, welcome back to 101 with Tierra Fair. I, of course, am your host, Tierra Fair, and this is the Black History Month edition. We've already done a few interviews. We've done one with B.B. Coker, community leader, activist, playwright. She was absolutely amazing, so make sure you guys check that out. And today I have another amazing woman, a person who is living Black history. We have the first Black and the first woman, and then she's the first Black woman too, just by definition, Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. I'm so excited and so thrilled to have you.
I'm excited and thrilled to be here, especially with you and also with the audience.
I know, that's awesome. You know, one of the great things that I was telling you about is just that being able for children and to grow up, and I guess even not children, even adults to grow up and actually be able to meet people who are making history right now. Is pretty amazing. So tell me why you decided to, well, maybe you should tell them, what does a congressperson do?
That's a great question. First of all, I represent our state in Washington, D.C. So as many people know, we have the mayor here and we have a governor that represents our state. And so I'm the person who goes to Washington. We had a saying during the campaign, when Lisa goes to Washington, we all go to Washington. And part of that was the message that, you know, I had a lot of different experiences in my life that the average person has had, you know, whether it was, you know, my kids going to Delaware public schools and then having to go to college and try to find money for college. I've had the experience of my son being stopped by the police and jumping out of my bed as a parent and going, you know, that
must have been scary.
It was, you know, but at the same time, having worked in different jobs in state government, I also had the opportunity to work with the state police on different projects. And so, you know, so for me, I wanted to just represent all of Delaware, you know, no matter what background you came from. And so, number one, as your congressperson, I go to Washington to try to carry our voice there, our experiences, but also to change policies and laws and create new policies and laws that help to better us here in Delaware, but possibly our country and our world. So right now it's a very important time, and I'm really glad to be representing us, because I think, you know, more than ever, people are getting active and getting engaged, and that's what we need right now. So
I just love it. So when you were a little girl sitting in front of the TV and doing all the things that you do when you're little, did you agree? Did you know that did you think like I could be the first Black? Like, did you know that you could make history in such a way?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the things, a project I got to work on was writing a book about women from around the world that moved to China, because I lived in China for a little bit. And the first question I asked was, who were you as a kid? What did you want to be? And for some reason, I think at the core of who we are, we already sort of know what our purpose, you know, on Earth is. And so I would encourage everybody who's watching to actually ask themselves that question. You know, what did I love to do? Who was I as a kid? I was the kid who liked to do everything. Like, I had a chemistry set, so one day I was like, you know, making experiments. Another day I was organizing all the kids in the neighborhood to do like a show for 4th of July, and we charged parents money to come to the show.
Oh, you were like fundraising, community organizing.
I just was always interested in things that connected people. And I think throughout the course of my jobs, everything, I've been our Secretary of Labor, I work for the Urban League, and I know you're a young professional of the Urban League. And, you know, it's always been about helping people connect and live their purpose, and that means jobs and strengthening the economy. And so that was really important to me even as a kid. You know, I had my own newspaper. You know, one day I was making my sisters, I have 2 sisters, and I made them on Sundays. We didn't go to church a lot, and so I decided to had my own church services.
Oh my goodness.
I took Wonder Bread.
You were serious
and I was
about
making like wafers and juice, and you know. And
so Born to Lead is really what because everything you did, it seemed like you were organizing, bringing people together, and it was definitely for a good cause, but it was definitely
just love. And as a kid too, I always wanted to remember what it felt like to be a kid, you know, and that kids are people too. That was like kind of like my motto. And so I would write poetry, and even now I'll still read some of that poetry to remember what did that feel like, you know, being a teenager, you know. So yeah, I didn't set out to be a congressperson. I didn't set out to be Secretary of Labor, but I just worked really hard and tried to expose myself and take advantage of all the mentors and people who were around me. And I think, you know, that is what actually got me to this place, is just, you know, sometimes even when you're afraid, to go ahead and do it. You know, even running for office, I had never ran for office before. And I took that leap of faith, and here we are today.
I know, amazing.
All of us made history.
Yes, and we all get to go to Washington with you. So I have to go back because you talked a little bit about living in China. And so how long did you live in China, and can you speak Chinese now?
So I actually moved to China. I fell in love with the love of my life, moved to China in 2006, but always kept home Delaware, you know, because Delaware is always home. So I would fly back and forth, and I was there for about 4.5, something like that, years.
Okay.
And I always say in Mandarin, "Wo shuo de bu hao," which means I speak badly. I mean,
You're warning people up front.
Yeah,
I can't.
keep your expectations here,
very low.
You know, but it was an incredible experience. I studied international relations in college, and again, part of it was this feeling that if we knew each other better, if we understood each other's cultures better, then maybe we would get along better.
That's very true.
And so I've been fortunate to travel to different parts of the world, and I didn't even. Sometimes people would say, "Hey, would you like to go on this trip to do work in this country?" And I didn't have to pay for it, you know. Or, "Would you like to be on this board and they're doing work here?" And so part of the message is that just have a dream. You know, I dreamed of going to these places. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I believed it was possible, you know. So keep that dream. Remember who you were as a kid, and even if it seems impossible,
Just
you know, keep that dream. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing message. I need to go back into television right now. I'm working in nonprofit.
Yeah.
I need to go back
But
into
you are keeping the dream. You're doing this right now.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, I'm impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I guess we are doing Black History Month special. So I've been asking, really trying to figure out why other people think Black history is important. So why do you think Black History Month and celebrating and having these types of conversations is important? Why is that important to you?
I think, you know, one reason it's important is because historically the stories had not been told. And I think that's maybe, you know, what the impetus for even creating a Black History Month is to, you know, recognize past accomplishments and achievements to our country. I think the other thing is that, you know, I talk about it from the perspective of it's not just reflecting on the past, but it's also reflecting on where we are today and what the future can be. There's a great quote by Martin Luther King that I just recently found, because people kept asking me, what does it feel like to make history? And I just couldn't really answer that question.
That was my next question.
Well,
Gosh.
because when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're doing the work. You just you're not thinking, oh, someday I'll be in a book. You're just trying to do that work and do it well. And you know, so for me, Black History Month is also about you know, action. And in this quote, Martin Luther King says, "We are not history makers. We are made by history."
That's amazing.
Right now, we are in a time when there is a lot of concern. People don't know the future of our country. They're seeing some of the changes that our president is putting forward and saying, where does this fit in? How does this impact me? And people are stepping up and getting involved and engaged. And so every single person is part of history. They're made by this moment. And so the question is, what are you doing in it? You know, if you're a writer, are you writing? If you're a poet, if you're an activist, if you're a community organizer, are you organizing people? Have you ever thought about running for office? Run. And if you are thinking about it for the future, volunteer Volunteer on somebody's campaign and get exposed to it. Because a lot of times we don't get into things because we don't know what it is. So right now, we're being made by history in this very moment.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. We so we talked a little bit about why Black history and why you think is important. What do you want to be remembered by? Because you're going to be forever in those history books. So what if when someone reads about you? Because most people have like that paragraph. What do you want it to say?
You know, when I first thought about even running, I just put like a big piece of white paper up on the wall in my house.
Did you make a vision board?
I actually have a couple of vision boards over the course of my life, but this one was just a piece of paper, and it ended up that I focused on 3 P's. One was the planet. You know, if we don't have a planet, we're not going to be here. This is all a moot point. It's like, what's the point of having a conversation? So, you know, how can we do things to better the planet, but in a way that's smart and still allows us to have a strong, thriving economy? The second P was purpose. I want to be able to help people live that purpose. If there's a job, if you want to start your own business, if you are a farmer, you know, how can we help you live that purpose and do that job and do it well and support yourself and your families. And the last P was peace. I firmly believe that, you know, we've got to come together. We you know, there's an African proverb that says sticks in a bundle are unbreakable, meaning when people separate us, it's easy to break us. But when you put us together, we are strong, we are mighty. And I just feel on the planet, I would just love to see more peace in our neighborhoods. I'd love to see more peace in our homes. I'd like to see peace so that people can really just live a great life. So maybe ultimately, she was a person who loved everybody and loved our world and made a difference.
I love how genuine you are. I love being able to show people that you are a person, because many people may not ever get to meet you in person, but when I tell you she's an amazing, genuine person, I really mean it. I want them to get to know you a little bit more, the fun side of you. So I want to do this. It's a fun exercise. Just
a word association.
Yes, like the first thing you think of. Asking you like your favorite things, what you like. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll just jump right in. What is your favorite color?
It depends. I love bright colors like orange and blue. I mean, orange and yellow, because they make you happy. But as a kid, I always liked sky blue. And maybe it's because I used to like lay on the grass and look up at the sky. And it was just beautiful. But in terms of like colors I wear, I also love purple. It's like strong.
We're wearing purple. Yeah, I didn't know we were matching today.
It reminds me of Prince. I mean, it's just a cool color. So I like colors, period. I actually keep like markers, scented markers, and I'm always like
coloring?
Yeah, like doodling things like notes and ideas. And so, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, that's funny, because the first thing that pops into my head is The Color Purple.
Oh.
The movie. That's kind of funny. And I actually, it's such a, there are a couple movies that are my favorites, but that's one of my favorites. And on my 50th birthday, we had a
You just celebrated, right?
I celebrated my 55th.
Oh,
yeah, double nickel.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes, okay.
So I don't know if there's like a...
Is that a thing? It should be a thing, right?
Anyway, but we actually saw The Color Purple as a whole group of people, and we did it as a fundraiser. So.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. What is your favorite quote?
Oh, gosh. Well, the first thing that popped into my head was, "We must be the change we wish to see
in the
world by Gandhi. Because I believe you don't talk it, do it. If you want other people to be that change, let people see it, let them aspire to it. So that's the first thing that popped into my head.
Favorite thing to do on your day off?
Oh, ooh, I tend to like binge watch stuff sometimes. So like this last thing was Stranger Things. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh,
I'm always looking for a new TV show. I don't watch. What's funny is I like television, don't watch TV.
Oh, I watched it on Netflix or something, but it's it was like these kids, and there's a kid that goes missing, and it's very intense, and I enjoyed it. The last binge thing was like Game of Thrones. Oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. While I was campaigning, I was watching Game of Thrones.
You're not supposed to be watching You're supposed to be focused.
Hey, you know what? You need like a break, a mental break at like 11 o'clock. I'll like just watch
Game of Thrones.
An episode of, Stranger Things or Game of Thrones, and then I can go to sleep. Yeah. Even though that stuff is really intense.
It is. I feel like that's not a sleeping type of something you should.
It's not. But then I listen to like this peaceful, calming music when I go to sleep.
Okay. That brings us to favorite musician all times.
This is a tough one. My sister and I were just debating this question the other day because, love Michael Jackson, of course, but I am like a Beyonce fan.
Oh my goodness, we're friends.
I'm a fan. Oh my gosh.
I've been to every concert.
I even saw her in China.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes, I went to the On the Run tour with she and Jay-Z.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Favorite Beyonce song?
I love Love on Top because it's just got such a...
Yes, it makes you happy.
It does. It does. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to unfortunately wrap up, but I wanted to just say thank you so much. Thank you for sharing a little bit about who you are. Thank you for making history because that's pretty amazing.
Thank you and everybody who voted for me or prayed for me or cooked a meal or whatever you did. It takes all of us. I'm only one vote. It took all of us to make history together. So,
but you're definitely bringing us to Washington, and I love that. Thank you so much, Congresswoman.
Thank you.
You guys just saw a Tierra Fair's one-on-one with Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, the first Black Congressperson, the first woman Congressperson, and by default, she's the first Black Congresswoman, which is amazing, in Delaware, which is absolutely amazing. I can't say thank you guys enough. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, Black History Month is not just February, it's 365. Thank you for celebrating. Learn something about Black history because just like the Congresswoman said, if we learn a little bit about every culture, we are really able to be more in our understanding and come together. I hope you all learned something. I hope you guys feel more connected to someone who is making history, Black history, right now. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. I'm Tierra Fair.